Hello, this is Uncle Jim. Today I'm going to do a review on a fixed set of fiber optic sights for the Taurus TX22. My biggest worry is point of impact. Alright, so this set was just under $12 shipped. Okay, and I'm looking at the sights and I'm like, wow, that's a good deal. So that's the first good thing. And I'll give you a close-up on that. So the gun's clear. I need to clean it first. So a quickie test for my height. Now these are set up just about right. And my problem was, I've said it several times, is this rear adjustable sight's moved all the way over to the left. At first I was shooting it right, but once I gripped it and put my finger on the trigger the way this gun likes it, I was dead on. So I might just go back to the stock sights and black out the white in the back. Okay, so for a quickie test, this is the rear portion of the sight right here. I'm just gonna see what the height difference is. Okay, so this is a little taller. It looks like, well, it's gonna be in the dove. So it's gonna be a little shorter. So I would need a shorter front sight. The good news is, now this I can't show unless I put it on, but the good news is this front sight is a little lower. All right, so that's just a quickie test without measuring or anything. These sights, the reason they're so cheap is they go on the G3 pistols also, the 9mm. So there's tons of them out there. Now, I was really surprised how good they looked. For one, the capsules weren't cracked in shipping or none of that. They come with the set screw, the fixed screw for the rear, and then the front screw for the front sight. And it also has a little bit of bulge that sticks out so it sits in the frame and slide correctly. So let's do a close-up of the sight. I'll clean the gun, put it on, and if I have to put the other ones back on, that's fine. This was $12 and it was worth the price of admission. All right, let's take a close-up look. Okay, these are aluminum and they came better than expected. Of course, they're China, but sold in the US, so it showed up in a few days. Let's do a close-up here. My shaky left hand. And they look really, really nice. They're not buggered up. They're nice and square, not sideways, you know, which you might expect from China. And look at how nice this is. That's the front portion. And no, that's the rear. They could have had you know, an enclosed pocket, but that's all right. I think it'll be fine. There's the front part, and then we'll see how it fits. But look at how nicely finished it is. And, you know, nothing's like off-center or crooked. And I think that might be nice if the point of impact is correct, and that's what I'm going to test today. And so it looks really good. And then, of course, you have your screws, and they even gave you a little Allen wrench. All right, so clean the gun, put those on, see how it looks. Okay, my thinking was, since it's shot to the right, I have to move the sight left, and the stock sight was all the way over. However, the last time I shot it, I was dead on. If I need to move the sight left, it looks like they have an oblonged hole here, because on the Taurus, it's threaded to the slide, and you can't move this right and left with the stock adjustable sight. This is adjustable, so you can move it right and left, and I didn't know that till I got this sight. My thinking was, since it's aluminum, I could tap a little grub screw right there, set screw, and move it right and left and then lock her down. But since this is oval shaped, I think it's going to be great if the point of impact is correct, because we have no adjustability for height. So if it's close, I might like this. It's going to be better on my eyes for sure. Okay, I'd prefer just black in the rear, and mainly I wanted this. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would prefer these to be red, which I could change out if I wanted to. So I could do that, because fiber optic, as long as you have the right size, they're super cheap. I still got to do my Marlin front sight because I broke it, and I have some extra green, but not red. So there's that. I'd prefer red on green. Okay, I got it pretty clean. The provided Allen wrench does not fit the factory front sight screw, and you got to be very careful, so you want to use something good. And if you feel a lot of resistance, that means they got Loctite on there. And what I do for screws that are Loctited and really frozen on there, I'll take a soldering iron and stick it on the head of that screw and get it hot, and then undo it. But in this case, it broke free, no problem, and I think we're good. And I want to be careful with it because these are plastic sights. And I think we're good. Yep, okay. We'll put this in the container that the sights came in and stick this one on. Now I got to find a correct bit for this because I don't want to use a cheap Chinese Allen wrench. All right. Okay, so I ran into a snag, typical Chinese. So the little round, see right here, the little round divot here that fits into the slide was too big. So I don't want to force anything, break a capsule, bugger up the side. So I carefully took some parallel jaws that move straight up and down, which everyone should have, and just barely gave it a squeeze just to see where the marks were. And you can see here, okay, that little divot there. So then, and this is very tricky so you don't hit the side of the sight. I take a file that will cut a sharp edge. Let's get focused. That'll cut a sharp edge, and I'm actually going inward on it a little bit. So undercutting it, and I should be using a little vise, but I'm too lazy to go get the little vise, and I'm just taking a little off here on both sides. All right. And then we'll see if we can squeeze it in there. Toughest sight I've done in a long time. Okay, let's see if this fits. I'm just going to give it a light squeeze. I don't want to break anything or mar anything. Nope, still not there. Son of a bitch, you bastards. Okay, this is the factory sight, and the protruding part is deeper than the aftermarket. So one thing you could do, but you never want to do this, you always work on the cheapest part. One thing you could do is take a round needle file and just bevel the edges on your slide, but that would be going against working on the cheapest part. However, this is shallower, so it wouldn't affect the factory sight if you put that on. Plus, that's plastic. So, you know, this is a 22. It's not going anywhere once it's locked in. That's an option, but I really don't want to do it. I have it close. Maybe I can press it in there, and we'll see what happens. But that is an option without ruining the lockup in the factory sight. Here. Because this one drops right in, and the protrusion is longer, so it wouldn't affect anything if you had to go to chamfering this cutout in the slide, but I really don't want to do that. Okay, I got her on, and there was a little burr on the slide. I just took that off and pressed it in, got the screw tightened down, and then pressed it, and then lined it up with the calipers to make sure it was straight, and made sure and looked at it and everything, but it looks fine now. A little pain in the butt, but no harm, no foul. All right, and it's aluminum instead of plastic. Let's see what the rear sight does now. Okay, first I made sure the locking screw fits before I put the sight on. And then different pistols or different brands of pistols. Some are right to left and some are left to right, going in and out. So I checked the dovetail, and this is looser on this side than trying to put it in from that side. And it looks like I'm probably going to need a sight pusher. Well, I can move it, pushing it in, but I'm just going to gently use the sight pusher. Now also, let's see if we can do a close-up. Probably bad lighting. I thought that this square notch part was the rear. It's not, because you have to line up the hole with this hole. So it only goes one way. So it's the beveled back end. All right. Okay, screw the sight pusher. It's tight. You could tap it in a vise. But I got these parallel jaws here, so I just put a little tape on them. They're smooth jaws anyway, but I don't want to mar anything. And then I'm just going to center it and make sure I'm not doing anything weird. Go real slow and easy down the middle, a little at a time. Adjust it one, and it goes in. That's a snug fit. This does not need a lock screw. Let's see here. Camera's probably not doing too good. See, there we go. We're almost there, and then I might have to tap it home, but I'm not marring anything. I got smooth jaws. I put a little grease on it because it is tight. Okay, and then I just tapped her home with a plastic punch. I'll show you that in a minute. Padded vise. These are great. Magnetic vise pads. They're awesome. Okay, so to take it home, I use this cheap plastic Derlin type rod here. You can buy it by the foot at Home Depot. And another little secret, here's two Uncle Jim secrets. It's cheap, but it's also the exact diameter for a buffer for your 1022, so you don't get that clanking noise, especially suppressed. You can replace the steel pin with this, and it gets rid of the clank. The exact size. Cheap by the foot. All right, so you can use it for punches. Just smooth out the edge, and every time you beat it up, and boom, bang, pow. All right, so I knew this sight was going to be ugly. We'll take it outside and look at it, because they didn't like smooth down this end. It's just a square block. But it looks good. So I'll take it outside. Now inside I was like, oh, that front sight is kind of muted, and the rears are really bright. But then I took it outside, and they're all very bright. There's not much gap between the front and rear. And yes, I'm shaky. Let's see what else. It's a little busy for me. Now, Jag on the live chat said, hey, here's a link to 3D print this exact rear sight, and it just has holes, to 3D print it. So there's a cheap, and you were right, Jag, that's like a 5-cent piece if you needed a fixed rear sight. They have the exact CAD for this. And we'll print one up just for the hell of it. And if I don't like too much dots here, I might do that. So otherwise you can just take these out, plug them, whatever, spray them before you put them on. Just spray paint it, get rid of it. But I'll see how this is. Now, When I moved the sight, I left it a little bit that way because when I first got this gun, I was shooting it a hair right. And the beauty of this versus the Taurus doesn't give you any play, is this has that oval in there, and you can see I'm all the way to the left, and I can still screw that screw down, the lock screw, and I can still adjust. So I like that. Okay, put the provided lock screw in there, no Loctite. I want to make sure I can move this around, and it's snug anyway. It's not going anywhere without a screw. All right, so all the stock parts are in the baggie that the new sights came in. Again, this is what it looks like, and I'm not fond of the square. This should have been beveled, but what are you gonna do? From here, it looks good. Up. Almost forgot the most important piece right there. Oh yeah. All right, this is an older target I shot with the factory sights, which came adjusted all the way to the left, and I had to concentrate on my grip and my trigger finger position, which I don't have to do on my other guns, and it was shooting right. And then finally, when I adjusted just for this gun, I could get it to shoot straight. This is at 15 yards. I know I'm a little shaky, and so we're gonna do it again with these sights, and hopefully the impact will be good. I was aiming right in the middle of the dot, and hopefully at worst I have to aim 6 o'clock, and we'll see what the impact is. And I don't have to worry about right and left because I got adjustability now, and we'll see what happens. Okay, that was stone cold, and I'm a little jerky, but the point of impact is good. So now let's try some cheap Winchester 333 bulk pack hollow point. And I've never had a malfunction in this gun so far. All right. All right, let's give the Aguila standard velocity another chance. I was just all over the place trying to get used to the sights, and I was just shaky, but then I settled down and got a good group with the cheap bulk pack. So let's give the standard Veil Aguila one more chance here. Okay, I think it was just me getting in the groove. I think we're on to something here. Point of impact is dead on. And if I have to move the rear sight just a hair left, I'm pretty happy. That's the best 19 bucks I ever spent. The sights are a little busy with the green on green, but I can always change the back to red or just darken them. But anyway, hope you found this interesting. I'm really loving this gun. It has not malfunctioned yet of any kind. And now that I got in the groove, we're in the dot, so, you know, excuse the first group. But now we just proved that once the shaky old man settles in, it's all business. Until next time, thanks for watching.